Hello and welcome to today's reading. We are drawing from the deck and seeing what comes to us, seeing what messages, wisdom, or advice wish to present themselves to you today. We are using the Insight Tarot, a Jungian tarot deck. Your first card is the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles often talks about a new beginning, a new venture, a new thing that has come into being, into your life. Very, very small maybe, but has the potential to grow into an enormous entity. With the Ace of Pentacles, I am feeling that you have felt without direction for a while. Maybe you stumbled onto something a while ago and it felt like it clicked with you. That might be it for you. It might be your career path or a new friend group or a romantic interest. Something showed up into your life that you thought was very big, and then it seemed to disappear again. And maybe you were questioning whether that thing really was as important as you felt it was. And what I'm seeing with this Ace of Pentacles is that, yes, it was important, and it was as big as you made it out to be. However, it was the seed. It was your first interaction, and it was the seed being planted. And when you look at the seed, you can see the potential of the plant it will become. However, you have to bury the seed. You have to put it in the ground. And when you do that, you stop seeing it. And sometimes, if you don't mark your spot, you might lose sight of the seed and you don't remember at all where it was planted. And sometimes these seedlings take a long time to emerge from the soil. And maybe this particular seed has taken quite some time to germinate, and you haven't seen sight of it. You've stopped watering the area. You've maybe felt that it wasn't viable to begin with. It was a fantasy. And this feeling that it disappeared from you, you took that as confirmation that I'm almost seeing you being upset with yourself for hoping for something. And that part of you that's afraid of hoping for things, of being optimistic, that part of you that tends to be the negative Nancy for you in your head, that part of you took this disappearance as confirmation that there wasn't anything to hope for to begin with. And what I'm seeing is that it isn't true, because the seed is starting to emerge. You're starting to see the result of that seed showing up in your life. However, if you are ignoring it and are no longer considering this seed and have given up on it, you're not going to go out into your garden and check to see if it came up. And maybe you forgot what side of the plot you even put it on, and maybe there's some other seeds that are emerging as seedlings. And so it got lost in your focus. But it is showing up in your reality. And I think you probably know what I'm talking about. But I also think that the part of you that doesn't want you to hope, the part of you that's afraid to be let down, it has a death grip. I can feel you questioning even the thing that came up when I was talking about this event, this interaction. You're questioning whether that's really it. You're questioning whether I could be meaning that. Or maybe you didn't think of anything at all. And I'm feeling like this part of you that is afraid to hope and be let down is very triggered by this potential. Okay, let's see what else we have for this situation. So our next card is the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is a card of fulfillment and celebration, just being completely overjoyed. It's that feeling that you get after you complete something. If you're an artist, it's the feeling you get after you've presented your work and it is appreciated and it is positively reflected, and you just feel like you're on top of the world. This card coming out here is showing me that the potential that the seedling has for you is that feeling. It's you were looking to create this sense of bliss and harmony, and this seed was the answer to that prayer or intention. And I'm seeing that you don't trust it. So even if you did get to a point where you could find the seedling, you remembered where you planted it and begin to water it again, you might not trust your own ability to water it correctly, or your ability to know that that is in fact the seed that you planted. I'm really seeing a ton of self-doubt here. I really think that the majority of this self-doubt is not so much that you don't believe in yourself, but you don't want to let yourself have this. Because when you get to a point where you have this fulfillment, when you have this happiness, you have a lot to lose. It doesn't mean that you will lose it, but your life experience, I'm seeing in this spread that your life experience is such that whenever you were happy, you always lost that somehow. Someone would come and puncture your happy bubble. Someone would see your happiness and steal it from you, or remind you of other things that had nothing to do with your happiness, but bring them up just to see you fall. For example, if you are an actor or actress and you were just in a very successful play and you were the lead and you got every line right, you got the inflection right, your costuming was on point, everything went absolutely perfectly, and you felt connected and alive and engaged, and everyone loved your performance and loved the entire play and really felt moved by it. And it's like someone comes up and says, yeah, but remember the first play you did that you sucked at? It's like really petty. It's really petty, but it gets to you. And I'm getting that this was coming from, it almost feels like maybe you have some siblings, or for some of you, it might have been extended family who was nearby for some reason. I'm just feeling that there are people who you should have been able to trust who were the cause of this deflation in the past. Maybe when you were a child and let's say you got an A on an exam, and then instead of being happy for you or proud of you, your parents said, yeah, but you got an F on the last one, so I guess you're even now. Or maybe it was a sibling that you were constantly in the shadow of, and no matter what you did, you felt like you could never attain the amount of approval that they received. Even if you were categorically better at whatever it is you were doing than them, they just always were the perfect one. This has got some golden child energy here. And it may have been a sibling or a parent or an extended family, or maybe a friend of yours. Maybe you had a best friend and your mother or father or someone preferred them to you or said things like that to you. Like, I wish you were like your friend. At any rate, this potential is here. You have potential to achieve this fulfillment. And I'm seeing that the only thing holding you back really is this fear of losing it. And that is completely understandable, especially when it's something that you've wanted your whole life, is to have this fulfillment. I feel like you have done a lot of growing and work, and you have come to a place where the things that used to control you, the things that used to cause you to react at all in any way, but especially in a self-deprecating, self-loathing, self-diminishing way, you have broken free from so many of those chains. And it's like, this is the last one. You've gotten to the point where you can plant the garden. You've gotten to the point where you can receive these seeds. You've gotten to the point where it is absolutely possible for you to have this fulfillment that you want. But there is still one part of you that is really terrified and fighting because it believes that it will be ridiculed and shamed for wanting this and for accepting it. Your next card here is the Wheel of Fortune. And it's actually interesting. The Wheel of Fortune is card number 10. And we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups, which is 1 and 9, which adds up to 10. So we've got a lot of magician manifesting energy here with the Ace, the 10, and the Ace and the 9 equaling 10. So this is something that you have put a lot of effort into bringing into your reality, and you have succeeded already. You've already succeeded in bringing it into the 3D. It hasn't grown up yet. It hasn't unraveled yet. It hasn't developed totally yet. It's sort of like going to a bookstore and finding a book that you've been looking for your whole life, and you find the book and you purchase the book and you bring it home and then you put it on your bookshelf and then you don't read it. And I'm seeing you in this position. It's like life has conveniently distracted you from the fact that you have the book now. You can read it. You can read it. And with this Wheel of Fortune here, typically the Wheel of Fortune is about cycles or about the wheel turning, the winds of fate changing. But what I'm seeing here more than anything is that you are the one in control of the wheel. You are in control of your wheel. And you've forgotten that, or you are avoiding acknowledging that. You have gotten to a point where you know that you can create whatever it is you want, truly. But you're also terrified of that. Again, I'm feeling that it is because of this part of you that's afraid of it being taken from you unfairly. But ultimately, this is your call. And the seed is already established. It's already growing. It's already there. All you have to do is allow it to continue to grow. Don't uproot it. And when it's time to harvest it. Let's see if we have any advice for you. We have 3 cards for you, and I want to talk about 2 of them together. The first card we have is the King of Wands, and then we have the 8 of Swords and the 2 of Swords. Now, when I was shuffling for this reading, the 8 and 2 of Swords both caught my attention. I wasn't at the point where I was ready to pull either card. I was still shuffling, but they both caught my attention, and now they are coming up in this reading as part of your advice cards, and I'm going to group them together. But we'll talk about the King of Wands here first. This King of Wands may be representing you. You might identify as a masculine person. You can be male or female or non-binary. You do not have to feel male in order to own this energy. But regardless, this King of Wands, I find, this is your energy in this situation. I feel like you are a leader of your own life. Potentially, there are people who look up to you in your life, whether that be siblings, friends, other family, co-workers. You may have a following. Maybe you give advice to people. Whatever it is, there are people who look up to you, and you feel a sense of duty of some kind for these people. I apologize if you can hear the heater. It just turned on. It's quite cold in here, so I am appreciative of the heat. Hopefully the noise canceling will deal with it for me. However, back to this King of Wands. Actually, that's quite interesting because Wands energy is fire energy, heat. And as we are speaking about this King of Wands and having a sense of duty, and maybe you have a social justice type of vision for your life or for a project of yours. Maybe there's a social justice issue that affects you personally or very deeply, or you can feel the effect that it has on the people around you that you feel that you have a duty to ameliorate in some way. I'm also seeing that this could be an entrepreneurial venture, this situation that you're thinking about. It could be something that maybe you're trying to build a community of some kind. You feel that you have a duty to these people, again, like I said, and they may or may not have a face. They may not actually exist to you at this point in time. It could be that you have a target audience, if you will, that you are looking to find and collaborate with and co-create some sort of solution or sense of community. As the King of Wands, though, you have the capability to see whatever this endeavor or seed completely bloom. You have all of the skills and tools you need. Even if you don't feel that you do, maybe you feel that you need to study more or learn from other people more or do what other people do. But I'm seeing that in reality, the most effective way for you to do this is to just go for it from where you are now, using the knowledge that you have now. Do you know everything? No. But as you move forward and as you allow this to unfold, you will learn the things that you don't already know. But I do feel that you have all of the tools necessary to begin. Now let's move on to the 2 of Swords and the 8 of Swords. The 2 of Swords indicates a decision of some kind, and typically on the 2 of Swords card there is a woman with a blindfold holding the 2 swords, one in each of her hands. I tend to interpret the 2 of Swords as someone who is unwilling to make a decision because they are not willing to look at the options. or they are not willing to look at the facts or the reality. Paired with the Eight of Swords here. The Eight of Swords is a restraining energy. It's an energy of self-imposed limitations. This is really talking to me about this part of you that is terrified of letting yourself go for this, of letting yourself accept it, of seeing it, of greeting it in your reality. It's all this. The situation is what you've always wanted, and that's why it's scared. And I'm seeing that your unwillingness to make a decision about this, or your unwillingness to look at it, is coming from this part of you that's so terrified of seeing it, owning it, and then losing it. And I am feeling that the loss of it is not something that you believe would be something you choose to do. You feel it would be taken away from you, stolen from you somehow, having the rug ripped out from underneath your feet type of an energy here. This self-restraint is really a protective mechanism that kept you from being disappointed in the past. And I'm seeing here that what is required of you isn't necessarily to believe in yourself, or believe that it's a good thing, or believe that nothing bad will happen, because this part of you feels to me very stubborn, and I don't know that it has ever been shown evidence to support the opposite argument. I think it has been shown time and time again that it is right. It should not accept things that are good. It should be very suspicious and scared even of good things. It's something that seems to test every good thing that comes into its life until the point where that thing gets frustrated and leaves, is what I'm seeing. And it might be a hard task for you, but I think the best thing you can do here is to say, okay, I'm afraid of this going wrong. I'm afraid of this getting taken from me, but let's see where this goes anyway. That sounds very simple, and I know that might even be ridiculous to you, but you can. I really believe that you can do this, and I think that if you are willing to allow this opportunity to unfold, take the necessary steps, water your seed, even if it dies, even if it isn't the seed you thought it was. Water it anyway and see what happens. It is a slow growing thing, and again, I think you might have been waiting a long time for this to erupt and come back into your reality. I really think that maybe it happened. I'm seeing 6 months. Like 6 months ago, an event happened, you encountered a person, you heard about an idea, you created an idea, maybe you started working on something and you haven't gotten any feedback, something like that, and it just it came in, it felt very strong, you felt incredibly connected to it, and then it went out just as quickly, and I think that there's a lot more to that connection that you felt than you are allowing yourself to believe. Maybe you need to take the first steps and go back out and try to rediscover this thing. For example, if you started a business and then put it on the back burner, or completely wrote it off, maybe it's time to revisit it and see what's going on with it. Maybe if you have an online presence of some kind, see what's been happening while you've been away. Or maybe just take an inventory of what you have. Maybe you'll become re-inspired, something like that. If it was a person, maybe if they have yet to reach out to you, maybe it's time for you to reach out to them. I know that's very scary sometimes, but the worst thing that could happen is it is a closed door. I'm also feeling that this part of you that is afraid of letting you experience joy or fulfillment, I'm feeling that this part is testing you in some way. It's testing you to see if you're going to hold, I'm hearing a promise, if you're going to fulfill a promise of some kind. I don't know if you made a promise to this part of you, or if you made a promise to someone else, or just to yourself in general, and it's expecting you to fail in some way. I feel like maybe for a few of you, this promise was something that you couldn't provide, and this part of you that doesn't want to accept hope or good things. Maybe you promised never to think about this situation or event or person or people or idea again. Maybe you promised to ignore it and assume that it's gone. And I think this part of you might be a little bit annoyed with you for not letting it go. I think this is something that has been with you for a while, whether it was just the desire to have this particular feeling of fulfillment, or if it's a particular relationship or a particular job or business or something like that. It's been something that's been sitting on your brain for a while, and that part of you convinced you to let it go, but you never did. And maybe you made a promise to yourself that you would never think about it again, or that you would avoid it or something like that. And in this case, it feels like it is time to break that promise and recognize that this part of you is attempting to protect you, and its ultimate goal is not to keep you from experiencing happiness, it's to keep you from experiencing pain. And if you are willing to take the risk, then you need to let this part of you know that to you, the risk is worth it. And maybe exploring the potential downsides of going for this thing is an exercise that you could do to alleviate some of the stress. I think that it's a very flimsy hold that this part of you has, and it knows it. And I think that this is the last chain, again, like the last link or the last chain, the last thing to really stand in your way of any import. I think this is the last thing that you need to deal with from your past, from your trauma, before you really start picking up speed and creating momentum for your life in the direction that you really want it to go. It's feeling like there will, of course, be more things to uncover and to heal from and to remember and to work through, but this is the last really big cross to bear. This is the last really big blockage that you have. And I think that by really sinking into this part, or the hope itself for this venture situation, I think that it's the last leap of faith you'll really have to make. I'm seeing in Indiana Jones when he has to cross this space, and it's quite a deep and scary fall, but he has the suspicion that there might be a bridge, and so he takes a handful of sand or rocks or something and throws them into what seems to be empty space, and he sees that they aren't falling. It's a bridge. There's something there, even though he can't see it. And I'm feeling like you have been playing that game for a very long time. You have been readjusting how you view reality, how you view the world, how you view yourself, and you have taken so many leaps of faith. But even though you have, and even though it has all been for good, and even though it has helped you get to where you are now, it's exhausting to take leaps of faith. It's exhausting to constantly be terrified that you're wrong. I am there with you. It's exhausting, but I am really feeling that this is the last one. This is the last leap of faith that you're going to have to take. This is the last blind faith move that you're going to have to make. And whether you do or don't, you will have the opportunity to do it again, so don't worry. But you do have the opportunity right now. And if you don't know what this situation is, if you let this sink into you, let this reading just sort of marinate and keep an eye out, I think it will make itself very clear. But I will say that this feels like something that has come up for you in the past. This particular scenario, I think it's something that, again, was a seed planted a while ago. It could have been a month ago. I am really feeling 6 months or so. Maybe it could have been less than that, or longer than that. It could have been years ago even. But I am feeling that whatever this is, it's something that you saw once before. You caught a glimpse of it and then ignored the experience. And I believe that was the seed being planted for you. And I think that if you keep your eyes open, stay open to whatever's out there, I think you'll see exactly what has come back around, what is emerging from the soil. It's up to you what you do with this opportunity. And like I said, you'll get more opportunities again if you decide not to go with this. But I am really encouraging you, and I feel that you are being encouraged to make this one last leap of faith. That is all I'm seeing for you today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. And I hope that this reading helped you in some way. I hope that it resonated. If it did, let me know. I'd love to know what situation this is for you. And I'd love to hear about your decisions. I hope I will see you in the next reading. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if that is something you would like to do. But I will see you next time. Bye.